that verse in Genesis means. Rabbi Moses Maimonides talked about the ways that we are not separate from creation. We are not apart from creation. We are a part of creation. It should not be believed that all the beings exist for the sake of the existence of humanity. Maimonides writes. The 13th century, 12th century. On the contrary, it says, all the other beings too have been intended for their own sakes, and not for the sake of something else. The animals, the plants, all that exists on earth doesn't just exist for you and your exploitation. They have their own meaning and purpose. Rabbi said, even things which you may regard as superfluous to creation, fleas, gnats, and flies, even they are included in the creation of the world. And the Holy One carries out the divine purpose through everything. Even a snake, a scorpion, a gnat, or a frog, the things that we might see as pests, they too have a place in creation. Not just human beings. Or this is one of my favorites. Humankind was not created until the sixth day, so that pride should govern. It could be said, even the tiniest flea preceded you in creation. They were here before you. Don't be so proud of yourself. I love that the rabbis who thought that thought, had that concept. We are, in our arrogance, so sure of ourselves. Don't be so sure of yourself. There are lots of texts in Jewish tradition. There is legal text, which many people focus on, but there's also a whole tradition that's known as midrash. Midrash means to tell. It means a story. Anybody here like stories? I love stories, right? All the kids are wrong. We tell stories. We are storytellers. We, the Jewish people, are storytellers. The rabbis are storytellers. So let me just read you this story, and I'll end with another story after this one. So you can say, good, okay, it's not going to go on forever. But this story I love. This story from Midrash. The Midrash, we don't know exactly how old it is, but maybe 3rd or 4th century CE. So it's been around for a long time. When the Holy One, blessed be God, created the first human being, God took that man and led him around the trees of the garden and said, behold my works, how beautiful and commendable they are. All that I have created, for your sake I created it. Up until now, pretty standard. That's how we see the Garden of Eden story. Great, God says. Look, you, human being, the one that I created to be the ultimate of creation. Look at this beautiful garden. I give it all to you. Have a nice day. Pay heed, God says, that you do not corrupt and destroy my universe. For if you corrupt it, there is no one to repair it after you. Amazing, this idea from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. We are stewards of the land. We, even from the very first human being, God says, I give you this beautiful, beautiful land. Everything you could possibly want or need is there for you to take. Just pluck it off the tree. It's all there for you. Just one thing. Don't mess it up. Don't be greedy. Don't be excessive. Take care of this garden. Why did I create you, human being? To be the caretaker of this garden. Don't mess it up. Don't get it wrong. Because there's no one to take care of it after you. The responsibility falls to you. Have we done a good job? Have we been good caretakers? Have we listened to God's plea? Or have we exploited? Have we taken more than we need? Have we turned God's creation into simply another form of exploitation, another way to make money, another way to say mine, 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 instead of ours? This world is a beautiful gift. And part of our problem is that we think very short term. We think just in the moment. So my last story I'm going to leave you with. This is a story I don't even have a slide for it. So you're just going to have to listen. This is a story about a character who's known as Honi the Circle Maker. Why was he called Honi the Circle Maker? Because he made circles. Why did he make circles? There was a time when he was the master of creation in some way. The people were thirsty. The rain had not fallen. And Honi was called by the people. Honi who spoke to God and was very humble, but arrogant when he needed to be. And so he drew a circle and he stood in the middle of the circle and he said, God, I can't make the rain fall. Only you can do that. But I'm not leaving this circle until you do. And he stood there and stood there and stood there. And eventually God brought the rain. Because even God can lose patience occasionally. But that's not the story of Honi the Circle Maker. The story of Honi the Circle Maker is one day he was walking along the path and he saw someone planting a tree. Lovely. What kind of tree are you planting? He said. I'm planting a carob tree. A carob tree, he said. That's very interesting. Noticing that the person who was planting the tree was a very old